Hi and welcome to iSoft Guide. We have started discussion about classes and objects in object-oriented programming. In my previous video, I have discussed about classes, objects and their examples and how the classes are defined. That also we have seen. If you have not watched my previous video, find the link in description or in I button. So we will continue with the discussion now. So data hiding in the classes and objects in the classes, data hiding is one of the important feature of object oriented programming. What it means, the classes hides the information which is similar kind of information, and that is important concept in object oriented programming. It allows preventing the function of program to access directly the internal representation of class type. Means it provides security to the functions that are written inside the classes. So data hiding is most important topic to consider in object oriented programming. Why? Because we are dealing with objects and classes. So there are many objects that we can create, that objects can access different functions, and that different functions can be secured with data hiding concept of classes. So data hiding is important in classes and objects. So for that data hiding, we have following access modifiers. Which are the access modifiers now? So access modifiers are public, private and protected. So here in public, private and protected access modifier, we will discuss about each one in detail. You can see example in the diagram below. Class is declared, then public indicates the public members, protected indicates the protect member, and the keyword private private indicates the private members. So when we are declaring the members, that we are considering the members, then that members may be attribute, that members may be function. So members means attribute and functions of the class. So that can be public, protected or private. So whatever we will discuss for the attribute, that is same for the operation or method also. So attribute and methods can be public methods or attribute, private methods and attribute, or protected methods and attribute. So what are they? We will see one by one. A public member may be, again I am repeating, it may be attribute or it may be function. So a public member is accessible from anywhere outside the class but within a program. What it means? A public member is accessible from anywhere outside the class but within a same program. So you can set and get the value of public variables without any member. That means public member is not protected, or it is not considered as protected member. So public member can be accessed publicly from outside the class but within the same program. And a private member variable or a function means private member cannot be accessed or even viewed from outside the class. Means whatever objects or inherited classes are there, that only can access or see or view the private members of the classes. So only the class and friend functions can access the private member. Only class and friend function can access the private members. Then what are protected members? A protected member variable or function is very similar to private member, but it provides one additional benefit. Which is that benefit? They can be accessed in child classes which are called as derived classes. In private member, we have not said that it can be accessed by derived classes. We are saying that in private member, the private member can be accessed only by the class or friend functions that can be called by the class. So here in protected member, the protected members can be accessed in child classes that are called as derived classes. So derived classes means, what are derived classes now? That we will see in the description next to it. So here keep in mind that there are three type of access modifier: public, private and protected. So publicly anyone can access that member or view that member. Private, it is secured and only class and friend function can access. And protected means it is similar to private, only class and friend function can access, but also it can be accessed by the derived classes or inherited classes. So what are derived classes or inherited classes? That we will see now in the following description. In the description of fundamental mechanisms that are used in object oriented programming. So what are these fundamental mechanisms that we will see? These are also important to consider in object oriented programming. So first one, there are three types of fundamental mechanisms: encapsulation, inheritance, and polymorphism. In overall subject, in overall syllabus of object oriented programming or modeling, you can observe that lot many times we will use these words: encapsulation, inheritance, and polymorphism. So what do you mean by encapsulation, what do you mean by inheritance and polymorphism? That we will see one by one. So first, encapsulation. Encapsulation means cover the information under one environment. So here one example you can consider, the example of medicine capsule. So if we have some common symptoms like cough, cold and fever, then for that, instead of taking 3 medicines separately, we will bind up with this medicine, we will combine this medicine and we will form capsule of that medicine. And why? Because they are related to each other. Cough, cold and fever, we can say that these symptoms are related to each other. Due to cough we can have fever, or we can have due to cold we can have fever. So cough, cold and fever are related to each other. So instead of giving separate medicine to that, we can recover recover cough, cold and fever by taking one capsule with 3 types of medicine to recover from cough, cold and fever. So this encapsulation means the same. We are encapsulating or covering the information under one environment, just like our example. So each class will encapsulate. What it encapsulate now? Attributes and methods. Just like your 3 types of medicine or many types of medicine can be encapsulated in single capsule, here also we will encapsulate attributes and methods that are common or having common methodologies. So these attributes and methods can be used by the objects of the class. Why we are encapsulating it? Because we have to provide some common features to the object. So the attributes and methods can be used, which are encapsulated by the class, can be used by the objects of that class. So this is encapsulation. Then inheritance. Inheritance means a class can be derived from another class. Inherit the property of another class. A class can inherit the property of another class. So the derived class is called as subclass, and the class from which it is derived is called as superclass. For example, we will consider one example, that is class chair. Class chair can be considered as superclass, and we can have different types of subclasses: office chair or rest chair, or many more types of chair we can consider as a class, or chair with 4 legs, chair with arms, chair with legs, or chair with cushion. Likewise, we have different types of chairs, but common thing is class chair. So all these classes belongs to superclass chair because they will share some common properties with the superclass. Hence, the class which are derived, office chair for example, is derived class from class chair. So class chair will be superclass and office chair will be subclass. So hence in inheritance, the class can be derived from another class and they will inherit the properties of the superclass. So inheritance encourages code reuse. Why? Because if we have written some common properties like chair will have 4 legs, chair will have cushion, chair will have arms. So chair class, for chair class we have written attributes and method. Chair can be push, pull or pick up the chair. So these are the operations that we can write for the chair class. So these operations and attributes are now common for each and every classes which are derived from that class chair. So we don't need to write these attribute again and again for each type of class. For office chair, we will consider that all the attributes and methods of the class superclass chair can be accessed by this office chair, are common for office chair. So we will not rewrite it. We will not again declare these attributes. So hence what we are saying, we will not rewrite the code for office chair. Only we will inherit the properties of or attributes and members of the or methods of the superclass. So inheritance encourages code reuse. We will not rewrite again and again all the members of superclass. So Each subclass reuses the implementation in superclass and can add new responsibilities. What it means in example we will see. So what we are saying that if for example there are two classes, student and employee. In student and employee you can see there are different, this is the declaration of class, there are same string name, string, state attributes are there, and there are different one different attribute is there, that is here in class student we have college, and here in class employee we have company name. So these are different attributes, but common attributes are name and state in both the classes, and there are some functions that describe the functionality of that class. So if we will use inheritance for this class student and employee, then we can consider one super class as class person, and we have attribute name and state in class person, and we will inherit or derive class student and employee from class person. So here we have superclass as class person and subclasses are student and employee. So here you can observe that in previous slide you can observe that we have written two times name and state attribute. But if we have inheritance, so only single time we will write it in superclass, and if we are saying that student is derived from class person, then it will have the properties of class person. Properties means here I am trying to say that it will have all the access to all the attributes and methods of class person. So it will have all the attributes and methods of class person. Likewise same for a class employee. But if we want to add some more functionality to it, we have added string college and pursue degree function in class student. So now you can say that class student will have attribute name, state, college, and function pursue degree. Likewise here in employee, class employee will have attributes name, state, company name, and promote employee function. So here you can observe that we are not rewriting string name and string state attribute again and again. So this is the importance of inheritance. This is a small example of inheritance, use of inheritance. So I think you have understood what is inheritance. We will move forward. So inheritance also means moving from generalization to specialization. As in example we have seen moving from generalization to specialization. This is general description, and this is special description. You can consider that it means. So with access modifiers we can restrict access of the superclass member in subclass. So whatever access modifier, public, private, and protected, that we can use for preventing use of these attributes and methods directly into the subclasses. So you can use public attributes or function, or you can use private attribute or function, or you can use protected attribute or function. Whatever you want to apply security, you can use access modifier to restrict the access of superclass members in subclass. So that's why we have discussed about that public, private, and protected members. Last thing that we before discussing last thing, so there are different types of inheritance: single inheritance, multiple inheritance, and multi-level inheritance. So here you can observe that in single inheritance, the one class B is derived from class A. So whatever attributes and functions of class A are there, if access modifiers are public or based on access modifier, that all attributes can be or functions can be used by class B. So this is simple single inheritance. So if we are having multiple inheritance, then from two classes, one class will have two superclass. From two classes we are deriving class C. So class A and B attributes and operation can be accessed by class C. Here I have written that Java does not support multiple inheritance. So Java does not support multiple inheritance, but many other languages are there which will support the multiple inheritance. Then multi-level inheritance. So in multi-level inheritance, class C is derived from class B, and class B is derived from class A. So here we can consider that all the attributes of class A and B and all the methods of class A and B can be accessed or used by class C. So it is different than this single inheritance. In single inheritance, only one class attribute and operation will be used. Here you can have multi-level inheritance. So next thing that we have to consider last is polymorphism. So polymorphism is one function many implementation, that is called as polymorphism in simple language. For example, calculator doing addition operation which can take any type of input like int, double, etc. So if we have one operation, if we have one property of the class that can be used for many types of inputs, then we will consider polymorphism. And classes and objects in object oriented programming will support polymorphism, means any type of input can be handled. In simple language, if we consider, any type of input can be handled by the class. So these are the these are the mechanisms used for classes and objects. So we will stop here, and in next video we will continue this discussion. If you like the video, please hit like and subscribe to my channel for more videos. Thank you.